Hi everyone, I'm Amy and this is the Lotus. So today I kind of wanted to talk about addiction, positivity, and the drive for sobriety. Today I have a friend of mine with me, family really. This is Desera. So she's going to answer some questions and kind of give us her perspective. So tell me a little bit about like how you got into drugs, like what kind of drugs, that kind of thing, just your backstory in general.
Started with marijuana when I was 12. I met a boy, he made me think it was cool. So
Don't they all?
I like marijuana. And then it wasn't until I had my second child and I couldn't sleep and I couldn't function that I started meth.
Okay. That's where I'm coming from too, so I feel you. So it started because you were just overwhelmed, or?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Overwhelmed, and we were in the process of moving to a different house with 2 children and no help. So we was like, hey, let's do some meth. And that was the worst decision of my life.
Right, I feel you. So, how did you lose your kids? Was it because of drugs, or?
I got divorced, and at first I took my kids with me, and I left everything, my house, their clothes, everything, and then I came to the realization that I couldn't raise my kids and not have a house. So I took them back to their grandma's where they could stay for like 2 weeks while I got myself together and got a job and found a place to stay. And that's where I lost my kids.
Were you still getting high at the time, or?
Yeah. I was going to find myself. It didn't work.
Yeah, it never does. Didn't work for me either. Did you ever have any DHS involvement?
I did, but it wasn't because of drugs. Yeah, my child was petting a dog on the bed, and he was being rough, and I was trying to teach my dog, trying to teach my son, how to pet the dog properly, and I had touched my kid too hard, which wasn't a fist, it was just my hand, and he slid off my satin sheets and left a goose egg on his head. And
oh, goodness.
I was told that I hit him and I abused him, and he said I hit him, so I lost him.
Oh, no. I'm sorry. And DHS can be rough, to say the least.
Yeah.
I try not to be too direct in my opinions, just solely because, I'm not a licensed professional, but I've had my fair share of issues with them as well, so they're not always particularly honest.
They're not. They take kids over little things and ignore the big things.
Mm-hmm. That's very true. So when and how and why did you decide that sobriety was going to be the major contributor to getting sober? Or to getting your kids back, sorry.
Because while I was high, nothing mattered. And not even my kids, so it took a long time. It took me about 4 years to figure out that my kids needed me and I needed them. And the only way to get my kids was to be sober. It was hard.
What made you realize that?
The way their father treated them is what made me realize that they needed me. And it was time for me to sober up to help them.
So, in that whole thought process, what made you realize that sobriety was going to be, that big thing that gets them back, kind of thing?
Well, while I was in the process of getting custody of them, they made us take a hair follicle. I felt the first one, the father felt the first one, And they told me if I had any chance of getting my kids that we both had to pass.
So at that point, DHS was involved with
No.
the hair follicle?
No.
Oh, so the court ordered a
Yeah.
hair follicle.
Court.
Okay.
I never really had much DHS involvement. It was just mostly battles through court and custody with Mike.
Okay. So how did you stay positive while you were getting sober? Tell me what that was like for you.
I didn't.
You didn't?
There was no positivity. None.
Well, how'd you get through it?
Barely. When I became positive was when I passed a follicle and he didn't. Then I got real positive. Like, I was supposed to have my kids.
Okay. So what helped to drive your sobriety? Help keep you on track? Was it just focusing on your kids, or?
Yeah, that was it. All I ever wanted to be my entire life was a mom. And that was my dream.
It's me too. I say that all the time. I'm all mom. It's all I've ever wanted to do. I like that. So is there any advice that you wish someone had told you whenever you were getting sober? Like just about the, in general, addiction side, you know, whenever you're in that stage where you're trying to get sober and you're fighting for that sobriety and everything and trying to stay positive through the whole mess of it, you know, if anyone could have given you advice that you think you would have needed, what would it have been?
Stay away from that circle. Change your course. Always think of your kids before you make a choice.
I like that though. I do. I like that.
I lost a lot for my sobriety.
You lost a lot for the sobriety? Is that what you said?
Yeah, all my friends,
Oh, yeah.
99% of my family. It was just me.
Yeah. I feel you there. When I originally got sober 13 years ago, I had tons of friends, you know, and it was like I woke up one day and all of a sudden they didn't want anything to do with me because, you know, I wasn't helping them get high anymore, and I was just like, okay, you know what, I'm done. I'm just done. I don't need that, and they don't need me, clearly, so, you know, I just kind of focused on my husband. He's the one that helped me get me sober. So, and then within a few months, I ended up pregnant, and that just drove it from there. You know, nobody wants to get high when they're pregnant.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess there are some people that do, but I wasn't one of those people. So, and it took me 13 years after that before I had my first relapse. So what kind of advice on staying positive could you share with those that are dealing with similar situation like yours?
I don't. If your kids are something that you're truly fighting for and that's what you want in life, and you know that sobriety is the only option you have to get them kids back, then you'll fight to be sober. You know, my kids are the only thing I ever wanted, and I chose sobriety. No matter how hard it was, it almost freaking killed me, but that's what it took. You know,
It sounds
just
like
keep
your
your
kids
kids.
were your positive
Yeah.
thing, you know?
Keep them in your mind.
Do you have any kind of message that you want to leave with anyone, or?
Don't do drugs. Especially meth. That stuff is really hard to beat.
Yes, it is. Very hard. We actually just did a video yesterday about just urges in general, you know. And just, you can be 2 years into your sobriety and still have an urge. It's like, I have an urge to eat a cheeseburger. It's no different for us, you know.
Right.
So, yeah, don't go down that road if you haven't already.
I am 12 years sober, and I don't have any friends. And the reason being, because, you know, if somebody brought some meth and put it in front of my face, I would be tempted to do it. You know, so
you're very aware of your triggers of things that will cause you to relapse, and you just kind of stay way away from them. That's good. That's real good. Well, thank you for sharing everything, sharing your story. I know some of it's probably sensitive, and it's not easy to talk about some of that stuff, you know. So I appreciate you doing that. I'm sure there are a lot of people that will benefit from it. And I hope this, you know, helps, even if just to comfort you so that you know you're not alone, you know. Every one of us is going through something. So yeah, just stay positive, guys. Be a Lotus.